Hey, what's going on? Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today, as you may have guessed from our background, we're taking a look at a Christmas themed knife. Now, if it feels like I'm starting a little bit early in the month, that's because I ended up ordering about 4 Christmas themed knives from a couple different brands, and I don't want them to pile up and all be during the same week, so I'm going to try and do about one per week between now and the holiday. So starting with this one, before we get into the knife itself, I did want to take a moment to admire this slip from P&W Bushcraft. This is made out of wax canvas, which is really one of their specialties. I've ordered from them in the past some of their wax canvas, a couple other non-wax canvas things, but nothing that I think I've shown on the channel, so did want to show these off. Was really excited to get a wax canvas slip, and these ones are pretty cool. I think this pattern that you're looking at now is sold out, but there is another holiday themed pattern that's still available. This is, I want to say, the small size, and $18 on their site. Really cool if you're looking for an alternative to leather, whether that's because you don't like buying leather or like me, you do really enjoy leather but like a little bit of variety. These are pretty weather resistant. It is wax canvas, very durable, and a little bit more pliable and flexible than leather. So the same size leather slip, you wouldn't be able to fit as thick a knife as you can fit in this one in particular. So ordered that one. Also went with a non-holiday themed one to check that out. Got the Woodland Camo. I believe this is the extra small. If we put those side by side, you can see a little bit shorter, not significantly so, but a really nice size because I do have a lot of smaller knives, and so nice to be able to put that in there. This is, again, Woodland Camo, but it probably a little bit darker than you might expect from your usual Woodland Camo, and that's because my cut didn't get a lot of green, which is fine. I like the look of it, but if you order this, just know that you might get a little bit more green mixed in here. It might be a little bit lighter, and that's just one of those things that you get with these inconsistent patterns. But I really like this, and yeah, we'll definitely be ordering more. I think this one was a couple dollars cheaper, maybe $16. Don't quote me on that, but I will link to both P&W Bushcraft as well as the knife in the description. I'm not affiliated with either of those, but if you want to check those out, that information will be in the description of the video as usual. Now, as far as the knife itself goes, we have the Baron Sun Christmas Redbone Barlow for 2023. This is another Red Hill Cutlery exclusive. I think the third or fourth one that I've shown on the channel for Red Hill Cutlery. They work with Baron Sun a lot, so most of those have been Baron Sun, but I do have a Case Red Hill Cutlery exclusive that I've done a video on as well. Mostly branded under the Red Hill Cutlery brand, so you have that Red Hill Cutlery Christmas exclusive, American made, limited edition. Red Hill Cutlery, the storefront is based out of Kentucky. Don't think Baron Sun is also in Kentucky. I forget where they are, but it's obviously somewhere here in America since they are American made. And on the end, we have Baron Sun Christmas Barlow. And this was a serialized limited edition, so I happened to get really lucky and got a low serial number of 2. And so I don't know if they shipped these out in order of when the orders came in, but I did order this, I think the first day it was on the site, so I was pretty early, but it may have just been kind of luck of the draw, I have no idea. Now, let's take a look at the knife itself. This is the serial number is also on here, which you'll see. And so really, really classy looking knife in my opinion. It's got a very traditional Christmas look with that red and gold. We'll start on the pal side so we can take a look at that red bone. Very, very beautifully done. I love the way it kind of fades to an almost orange around the edges and a little bit darker red in the middle here. There is this darker line that doesn't feel like a crack. It may be a crack under the surface, but there's no like feeling to that darker line, so I don't think it's cracked or anything like that, but did want to point that out. Really flush from the bolster to those covers, and then it kind of slants outwards, so you can see it gets a little bit thicker to the back, but that definitely seems like an intentional thing, not like an inconsistent thing. It's the same on both sides and feels like that's what's supposed to happen there. Now flipping over to that show side, we have the brass bolsters, really beautiful Barlow in cursive. That's got kind of a classic look there in that Barlow cursive writing, and then underneath that we have the serial number, which is stamped 02. Now I have no idea how many of these they made, but we have some kind of context clues with the stock photo on the website being number 25, so we know there's at least 25, and then it's only 2 digits, not 3, so we know that it's less than 100, so somewhere between 25 and 99. If I had to guess, I'd say 50 to 75 of these were made, and these are still available for $49.95 over on their website, which again will be linked in the description. Now, On that show side cover, we have this really nice etched artwork in there, or scrimshawed artwork in there. And so we have this forest scene with a deer in the middle, and then Merry Christmas in cursive, kind of similar writing to that Barlow. And the eye on there has kind of like a puff, like one of those dandelion weeds or maybe fireworks, I don't know. But either way, it looks really cool, it looks very classy. I think the gold dye in there ties it together really nicely with these brass bolsters, and I think it looks excellent in my opinion. So as far as the knife itself goes, this is a traditional Barlow, so we're looking at about 3.5 inches in that closed position, 7 3/8 in the open position with that clip point blade, and weighs in at 3.3 ounces. Now, as far as Bear & Son and their fit and finish goes, this is typically what I've come to expect from Bear & Son, and that is, you know, it's American made, it's quality knife, but it does seem to be a just slight step down from Case. And that definitely feels like the case here. I didn't mean to do that pun, which is why I'm laughing. But definitely seems to be the case here as well. It's not perfect, you know, the bolster and the covers are completely flush, as are the pins, all really well done there. But if we go back to these springs, there is some minor gapping between basically every liner and the spring. And so just small gaps, nothing too significant, but enough that you don't need light to see them. You don't have to hold this up to the light or anything, especially prominent on the bolster side. Now, it's nothing major. It's not like it catches my finger, but I do feel the just kind of like bumpy, uneven texture there, but not something that's like catching on your finger or anything. So that really doesn't bother me that much, but worth pointing out for sure. Now, the other thing with Bear & Son that I've only ever gotten one knife that was the exception, and that was definitely the exception, not the rule, is that typically when I get these, they are filthy. So if we look into those springs, I don't know how well that will pick up, probably not that well, so won't spend a whole lot of time there. It's filthy, it's just black gunk, and especially prominent on these tangs. It's like a pile up that you can see the pile up. I didn't want to clean it before the video so I could possibly show it, although I have no idea how well that's picking up, but always filthy. It seems like they're made in a coal mine and they don't clean them. I don't know why. I have gotten one that was pretty clean, but like I said, that was the exception for sure, not the rule. But looking at the blades here, our main blade's pretty centered. Our pen blade is favoring the cover side, and so not quite centered. I may or may not be able to correct that. I haven't tried. But pulling out that clip point blade, really gritty action, and it's pretty light pull overall, maybe a 4 or a 5, but the half stop is almost non-existent because it's so dirty. It just kind of rocks there, and so it doesn't snap into that half stop. In fact, at first when I opened it, I was wondering if there was even a half stop, but there definitely is. It's just not very good. And so into that fully open position, it does seat there pretty nicely, but wouldn't be confident closing this with my fingers in the path of the blade like I do with some other slip joints. But otherwise, a nice looking clip point here, Bear & Son on that tang stamp, nail nick, sterile, no like etching on the blade or anything like that, which sometimes you see with these more commemorative knives. Only thing I wanted to point out here is that tip. You'll notice that it seems to be a little bit rounded off. I don't think that's normally the case with my Bear & Son knives, so I'm definitely gonna have to do some work if I want a more prominent pokey tip. This one's a very dull, rounded tip, and that's actually the case on our pen blade as well. And so not sure if that was done intentionally, but I don't love that about it. Now, this main blade definitely has a hollow grind. It does list that it has a hollow grind, but I'm not sure if that pen blade does. That one honestly feels to me more like a flat grind, but it could be that it's a thinner blade profile and it's just not as prominent, so you don't feel the hollow grind, but it feels like a flat grind to me, not a hollow grind. Now, pull and action on this one is significantly better than our clip point. A little bit heavier, so a 5, maybe 5.5 pull on that one, and definitely goes into that half stop position with authority. It feels secure there and a little bit snappier action overall. So much better action, but again, if we look at that tip, we do have a very rounded tip, and so like I said, not a huge fan of that, but pretty minor overall thing. Now, as far as the action goes, one thing I do know with Bear & Son, like I said, it's pretty consistent that you need to clean them before you use them. They're always dirty like that, and the action does seem to get better when you flush that pivot, get all this gunk off of the tang, and so I'm hoping that's the case here. I didn't want to do it before the video because I wanted to show kind of what to actually expect from these, but in general, general, it's a kind of temporary issue. It does take some work, which maybe you probably wouldn't want to do with a new knife, but overall the action does get better once you clean those out. But that's really it for this knife. I think a really classy looking knife. Like I said, it feels like a very traditional Christmas color combo with that red and gold. I love the look of this. This is going to be more of a collector piece than a heavy carry, although I will definitely carry it this month as well, but definitely more for the collection. I think it's just a good looking knife. Would love to hear your thoughts on it down in the comments below though. If you enjoyed this video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting that notification button, and as always, hope you have a great one. Take care.